so this is quite a good turnout.
I'll take it.
Yeah, fantastic. So,
Maybe not.
whatever works, honestly. Like if it gets here, that's absolutely fine. Do you know what I mean? So thank you very much for being here. We are Triple Takeover. We do have a couple of slides, but we're going to keep this quite informal as well. So, Maz, do you want to kick this off?
Yes, welcome to the first live episode of Triple Takeover. We are, of course, a fortnightly podcast doing 80s and 90s Transformers toys.
And other toy lines.
And other toy lines. We've done that now, literally.
Yeah.
And I'd like to introduce us.
Okay, this is us.
Apparently that's me. I'm Maz from TF.Spacestation-Online. Man in shock is Liam from Toy So Much. And Man in crisp is 6 from 6.
I've got to tell you, you sent me these pictures to put in the slides, and I was like, these are supposed to be comedy pictures. That's just you, isn't it?
Why was I looking like the child?
I don't know, mate. Why would that be, honestly? So yeah, that is us. Now, if you've not come across our podcast before, what are you even doing here, frankly? But you can find us on tripletakeover.com and indeed on all these other podcast-friendly places as well, so you can get us on various apps and things like that. So if you haven't heard us and you're listening to us for the very first time, do check us out, because we do have a bit of a podcast going on. We've been going now for... There we go. It does work. For a little bit over a year, and we've amassed, unbelievably, I think we worked it out, about 90 hours worth of content, which is kind of insane. Like, I don't think when we started this, it was actually Liam's idea, first of all, to get us together for a podcast, and I don't think we imagined it amassing that amount of content in that time. But we've done, so we do regular episodes every 2 weeks, as I'm sure many of you will know. We're up to episode 37, which is live now. I can't even remember where we're at.
Not live yet. 36 is live.
36 is live, yeah. 37 goes live on Tuesday. So that's right. And then we do fortnightly mini-sodes as well. There it is. Gives you a little insight into what we're going to be talking about. And we do fortnightly mini-sodes on our Patreon as well. So there are, I know a few of our patrons in the crowd. Big up to them. Well, there was one. Thank you very much.
I'm also doing the run-through later.
Yeah, we will be doing that. So we do fortnightly mini-sodes as well, which we really, really enjoy. So yeah, you can see all of our content there. And we've got, at the very end of today, we just want to kind of tease you with what we've got coming up as well for some new content, which is, we hope, quite exciting. So that's us. Liam?
Now welcome to the real show, Fun with Flags. So each of these represents how many places behind the Gardeners World podcast we are in this country.
Not a joke.
Now this is the peak rating for Triple Takeover in the Apple Podcasts hobby chart.
That's it.
In all of these countries, all these countries that we can all name. We'd like to thank all our fans in Singapore.
Yeah.
Two of them.
I'm so glad you got the flags right, honestly.
I was surprised you didn't know.
You did actually think this was number of listeners per country.
I did.
One listener in New Zealand. There you go.
That's a skill read, and I had no idea what it was.
Yeah. We're pretty proud of this actually, because although like number 36 in the US, that was our peak position. That's not where, like if you look it up today, that's not where we're at. I should tell you that that's like peak position. But we were really, really proud of that. So it's had a great impact, and we're just very appreciative, I guess. So.
Right, so if you're not familiar, Room 101 is a BBC TV programme where guests will come on the show and choose a few topics or items that they want to put into Room 101, and they'll have a little bit of a rant about these topics. And we're doing a little bit of a twist on this.
We are. Yeah, we figured instead of Room 101, of course it's Triple Takeover, so it's got to be Room 0101 to accommodate for Liam.
I don't see anything wrong with it, that's the real name.
That's what it's called, isn't it? So the plan with this is pretty simple. So we would like debating what we're going to do. We figured it might be a little bit self-indulgent for us to just kind of talk for an hour or whatever it's going to be. So we are going to kind of do this in a little bit of a game show format.
You mean like we do every fortnight?
Like we do every fortnight, exactly. Every week, really. But so what we're going to do is we're going to run through 3 kind of eras of Transformers, if you like. And we're going to talk about the vintage era, so like the 80s and 90s. We're going to talk about the kind of mid-era, if you like, the 2000s and 10s. And we're going to talk about the current era, so everything since, basically. We're going to start with the vintage era, so this is 80s and 90s. So Maz, you've got first topic?
Yes, totally on brand.
Hang on.
Bubble inserts for original G1 toys. So my job, I know what those two are doing, I know I don't stand a chance, but bubble inserts for G1 toys. If you collect vintage toys, you might want to display those vintage toys, and they're quite old. And bubble inserts that we had in Europe, unlike Takara in Japan, it's very typical for these over time to sort of lose their adhesions. And it's not uncommon to see a beautiful boxed G1 sealed blue streak face down at the bottom of its box because all the adhesive around the bubble has come off and this toy has just plummeted to the bottom. And that's, still sealed on both ends. Whereas, if you had styrofoam packaging, you could always put that back in the box, display it nicely. And if anyone ever followed me trying to open a sealed Darkwing, don't know, did you ever see the picture of that thing from behind? It looked great from the front because it still had the bubble attached, but I'd gone hatchet job on the back and just sliced it open like a tom-tom. And this thing had sort of spilled out the back, I had to sort of get it out, because that was the only way to try and preserve the way this thing looked. I'm not doing a good job here. Yeah. Looking around. Glass.
I love that we've started with cardboard, can I say? Like,
It's not
very on brand for us, but also you personally. Like, that's where we're going to go in at. It's like the worst thing from the 80s and 90s is this style of cardboard.
This picture is a perfectly preserved bottle with nothing in it. How did they get it out of there?
I think it might be a repro.
It's a mystery.
Fucking repro picture.
You signed off on the picture.
Did you not choose this picture?
No. I would have picked dirt. So what I'm saying is, it would have been nice if we'd got styrofoam, for Hasbro packaging as well, just so you could put that mashed up, badly stickered, yellowed, crumbled toy back into the box and displayed it. And I do wonder, if the packaging wasn't so disposable back in the day, would we have kept more packaging, or would we have just done exactly what I did, which was rip it clean out, thrown it away, and then spent a lot of my adult earnings trying to repurchase all these boxes so that I could just rip them open again. So, yes, that's my pitch. Bubble inserts.
So, of everything in the 80s and 90s, this is your worst thing?
They were great.
We did struggle with this a little bit. When we were like, let's pitch the worst things that we can think of, like the one thing we would absolutely want to brew from these decades. It was quite hard, actually, in the vintage era.
I'd love to admit that it was difficult, but that just basically came to mind immediately.
I think this was the first thing you suggested overall, actually, yeah. I don't know if I can go with this one though, man. Obviously, I've got my own argument, my own case that I'll make in a minute. But I don't know, it's not that bad, right? Like, you can still cut from the
no, not that one, that's a repro, that's fine.
Yeah, sure. What's the worst that happens?
Well, there's nothing in it.
What's the worst that happens then?
What, to your display? Well, the thing is, mainly, it's them falling off after time. So if you do collect sealed toys, which I don't.
Oh, well, when the glue dries out?
Yeah, exactly. And it happens on carded toys as well. And then, you don't even have the box to encase it, it just falls off.
But you might have had me, if you'd have picked Generation 2 packaging. The ones with like...
And another thing, yellowed bubbles.
Okay.
So you also get yellowing on bubbles, and you can't actually tell if the toy inside has yellow as well until you open it. So I think you had a battle charger where you had a yellow bubble on it, opened it up, battle charger's mint.
Yes.
But with G2, the bubble packaging...
Well, I had a sealed runner mug, which I unsealed. But actually, yeah, it was mint. It was still mint, and the bubble was yellow. But I had the similar experience with G2 Ramjet, and it was like, it came out green, I think, the toy. It was like this weird kind of dark green colour, which is not what you want, let me tell you that. So yeah, it does seem to be that some bubbles, like of different eras, they're yellow and the toy is fine. But the Generation 2,
Don't you have enough to worry about without this on your plate as well?
I don't know, man. Like, is it room 0101 worthy? I don't know.
I think so.
Alright. Is that your full pitch?
That's my pitch.
Liam?
I'll get on board with this. Before someone throws a bottle at me.
Boom! Yes! Boom! Boom loud!
Boo this man!
Thanks, mate.
Okay, let me start. I don't hate G1 work. But look at this toy. Look at his face. It's like Albert Steptoe encased in a bloody telly. dad's clothes or something like that.
I'm pretty sure I just heard a child cry.
That's because they gave him a G1 Blur for a present.
How could you think he's pretty adorable now? Look at him.
I love this story.
Look
Absolutely
at
love
his
this.
face, he's like a proper
Yeah, his face is adorable.
He looks unwell.
He is amazing. He is amazing.
What an offer as well.
We should have that gift. Is it though?
I love that you started this off with saying, I don't hate this toy, but... So what is it that you actually don't like about it?
All of it.
What's wrong with the shield?
Why has he got a shield?
Why would you not have a shield?
Because he's holding it like this. What's he blocking his hand? There's a shield in his hand, literally.
How would you hold a shield?
Dynamic.
Oh no, like all the other G1 toys.
Bit of a lunge. No, it's just look at his legs are so stiff. For a character that's meant to be really dynamic, and when you first introduced him, he's zipping all over the place, and you've got this doing that. Doesn't even have elbows. Look at it.
He's got cool stickers.
Terrible flaps.
I've got to tell you now,
Tell us more about the sleeves.
The stickers on their feet.
I've got to tell you, we're still here debating the merits of G1 Blur, and G1 Wheelie is not on the slide.
I don't feel so bad about my bubble right now.
You're right, exactly.
Wheelie's alright.
Wheelie's not alright.
Well,
Now you've lost them.
version of the
Now you've lost them. We've got the one Wheelie fan right here.
But also, you've got so many G1 toys with just a gun. He's got a gun and a shield.
But it's a terrible.
This isn't even the belly button version.
Why has he got this rub sign on his shield? Who was like trying to attack him and then just know who he is?
When does it stem from?
It's genius!
It's a nonsense.
Where does it stem from, your Blur hatred?
Did you have a Blur as a kid?
I did, and that's one of the extensions. I was like, oh, what's this? Next.
Was it not one from your nan?
Yeah, it was. But this probably came at Christmas with a touch of way better toys, like, I don't know, probably a cup and a ball and all that. Pencil sharpener.
Alright, so that's the case. Has Liam lost you at this point with G1 Blur? What do you think? I think you've won this one. Okay. We'll have to see how we go. So,
Yeah, no, stop.
okay.
When we pitched this idea, we said, don't pick crowd pleasers. Don't go for the obvious yellowing, who's not going to dislike yellowing. And he was like, yeah, sure, no, we'll not pick those obvious topics. Show what we picked.
GPS! I rest my case. I rest my case. There's so more evidence to it. GPS?
Did you not prove that slide? No.
Exactly. People are horrified by that.
GPS
This is
makes
actually
it a
six
challenge.
shows Randy on.
GPS does make it a challenge. I'll give you
This is
that.
after Manhandle
I give
last
you
night.
I actually got this toy recently, and it doesn't look like that, fortunately, but it's still in beast mode. And of course, it's a little flip changer action for those that have not seen it. You know, pull the tail and the thing auto transforms. I'm dreading the day, man. Honestly, I'm just like, I'm gonna have to like get some sort of blast shield or something for all the bits that are gonna slow mo. So I feel like I've got to film it and post it online. So I think that's what I'm waiting for. But yeah, for those that don't know, gold plastic syndrome, very infamous thing. I'm sure most people do. You know, particularly late 80s, 90s was when it was really prevalent. Prevalent, that's the word. But I think for me, actually, one of the things about GPS that always makes me laugh is how it's still in the kind of collecting consciousness now. The fact that there are collectors who are maybe half my age, who are still worried about GPS on modern toys. I mean, we had it recently, didn't we, with something, I think it was that Lagoon Convoy, the masterpiece, gold chrome one, and someone said, oh, I'd like to get it, but I'm worried about the GPS. It's like, it's fine, it's gold chrome, but it's the fact that it's still kind of permeated all of our brains. It's like this big, boogeyman of collecting that really kind of gets me. But in theory, you can avoid it, obviously, by just not buying the toys that have that gold plastic from that era.
Cowards.
Exactly.
I'm looking at that destroyed Randy here, but he's still got legs. He's still got arms. He's still technically man in pig. Okay, the pig has shattered, but he's still there.
Still better than G1.
So you're saying that would be acceptable
Right,
if it had a nice bubble?
My G1 Thunder Clash, you pick it up and it rattles. There are bits broken on it. It's still a terrific toy. Because you're going for the toy, right?
Yeah.
And if you had a sealed one, it'd still be fine in there.
Versus the packaging.
Right, but if you're collecting packaged toys, that completely ruins the entire premise of why you're buying packaged toys. It ruins the entire... But you can still enjoy that, Randy. I mean, it looks like a great toy.
You can still enjoy that, Randy.
He's still
not much more I can say on gold plastic syndrome that needs to win you over at this stage. I like to think that I've made a very compelling argument there. I'm sure that Maz will
Just the picture.
Just the picture alone. Liam, is there anything else you want to say about Blur?
Just look at it. It's not all about watching his crotch.
That is true.
What is the good part?
It's fancy. What can I say?
It's blue, there's lots of blue. Lots of different blues.
Like a Smurf. What's wrong with Smurf? Why is Smurf story? If you want to know it.
Maz, final argument on your cardboard bubbles?
No, I'm happy.
You happy? That's the case.
Set the box.
So we're going to do a show of hands.
Yeah.
So who thinks, to put into room 0101, that it should be cardboard bubbles?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's a fairly decent showing, actually. Got some support there, Maz. Who thinks it should be G1 Blur?
Yes!
So, I
was going to lie.
It's more than I expected.
There's too many.
It's more than I expected. I'll grab it. Nick's right in there. This is the most
GPS? It's a long time.
It's flexible. I'll see this. I'll do this. So that was the vintage era. I feel like that one was fairly conclusively decided. Lance? Conclusive. That's one in the bag. So
I think I'm away for Blur.
see how we go.
I got that.
So we're going to move on to the mid-era now. So this is the 2000s and 2010s.
Yes.
The noughties and the 10s.
Basically, this gave us just lots of flexibility to include anything we felt like.
Yeah, a really good rant about it. So Maz, what is your choice?
More cardboard!
Hang on, I've got a big green button here. This is next.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Blind boxes. Blind boxes. So, this is not a great example because if you look over here, it kind of tells you exactly who it is. But, in the case of a lot of things like the Takara PVCs, these Micromaster reissues, anything that had chase figures, WST, exactly. See?
The work in the crowd there.
Spy changes. Sixo sitting in the Argos car park, fondling bags in the morning, risking arrest.
This gave me a very good podcast story to tell. I was very happy to do that.
It's true, the bag fondling did
The bag
yield
fondling
a lot of
was-
success.
yeah.
But the fact that you had to do it, the fact that we couldn't just know what we were buying, and those just for spy changes are not exactly simple to acquire.
It's fair to say that those exclusive Takara spy changes
Yeah.
are some of the hardest to find.
I mean, how many cases did someone have to buy to get an entire run of 6 clear super spy changes? I mean, in one case, in one case there were 2 clear ones, and in case number 2 you can have the same clear. There was no distinction. Right, so buy more, exactly. Buy more to get the one that you want. And what ends up happening is you end up buying from dealers. I should be careful what I say here. You should do, because you should buy from dealers who are really reasonably priced and have the entire chase figure. I mean, we had to buy you a red 6-string for your birthday, and that wasn't cheap. Took up the whole budget.
That was a great birthday present though, can I say?
So I have a real problem with not knowing what I'm buying. And one of the great examples was going to Morrison's years ago and buying those UK mini cons.
Yeah.
How many sweets did I eat that week? Fizzy sweets. No, I wasn't complaining. I'm complaining now. I had to wear the large version of this t-shirt, not the medium that I had last time. So yes, blind packaging, don't want it. Want to know what I'm buying? I buy enough already. I'm happy to buy when I know what I'm buying. That is an example of why I want to stick it in room 0101.
I've got to tell you though, I think there's like a thrill of the hunt here type thing, where you're emailing a Japanese seller who presumably only speaks Japanese, and you're asking them to fondle the bag to give you an idea of which spy changer it is.
What success have you had with that?
This is like a Tuesday.
Relative success. Relative. I've got the full set now, so it has worked out in the end. I have a few spares. But yeah, that was great fun.
Yeah, I kind of think like the whole uncertainty of it adds to the cost as well.
Oh, for sure.
It's an extra element that today is just unnecessary in toys that are already pretty hard to find.
But if you had just, I don't know, walked into Smith's and got those spy changes off the shelf, like in, typical packaging or whatever, they wouldn't have been as desirable, would they? They wouldn't have been as exclusive.
I don't collect things that are desirable. I know what I want, so I'll go and buy what I want. And the fact that you can make it more difficult and painful to acquire.
Sorry, this is the one last episode. I'm going to spoil our next episode that's about to come out now a little bit, but you told us that your best convention ever purchase was an unreleased test shot of a G2 pink.
It wasn't in the right box.
And then you were going to tell us that you
I didn't know
like
nothing to do with things.
What? You're not.
I knew what I was buying.
Right.
I could see it.
I
I
accept
could
that.
see the canopy.
In fairness, your version of Thrill of the Hunt was getting somebody to tell you what the toy was.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I have a very fond memory, and I'll go back to the bag fondling, but I have a very fond memory. Baz and I went in a lot of these spy chambers together to try and pool our resources to kind of get, complete collections. And we bought a certain amount of these blind bags and got them shipped to the UK. And we figured if we get a certain number, we're bound to work out, sort of quids in here in terms of what we get or whatever. And I just remember, I picked up the parcel or whatever, and I drove to, it was Argos, sat outside waiting for it to open, just sat in my driver's seat in my car, and just going through and texting you, going, first one's up, it's an art fire! Do you know what I mean, like that? And it was just so exciting of like what each one was going to be. So, I don't know, yeah, it is a pain in the arse.
What are you doing at Argos?
It's kind of thrilling as well.
What are we doing at Argos?
Interesting, I don't know. What do you ever get from Argos, I don't know. Not a Rodimus Prime.
No, Kingdom of
So yeah, I don't know. I think I agree with you, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. I don't know if it's the worst thing in the world. But we'll see. What's Liam got up for us? Here we go.
Buckle in. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to the Transformers. Honest to goodness, it's the scale chart. It's created a set of rules for people that did not need rules. And now I spend half my time looking at Twitter, looking at stupid little red lines where people going, oh, this eyebrow is slightly higher than it is in the common tool. Oh, that's a classic tool. And they didn't need that in the first place. And now everything is controlled by that.
So don't you think it created all that buy-in for Masterpiece?
No.
Like, it appealed to all those people, and we know that a lot of these lines, they punch out the repaints, they punch out the easy wins, because they need to find a way to finance the rest of the line. So everything that you have now that you love, Masterpiece skids I opened today, wonderful figure. I'm just not sure how likely it was that we got that if we hadn't got all the buy-in with this rather, unfortunate thing. But it brought everyone in. It made people like, this is a project I'm on board for. Okay, we're 13 years into this now, whatever it is, we've still not got Masterpiece Jazz, but some point. That was a buy-in for a lot of people.
But you love MP01 and MP... all of those toys that are not in scale with each other. They're not adhere to this going time. You still bought them. You love them.
I also love the ones that adhere to SketchUp.
You would have bought them anyway, regardless of every time you look at this, you're like,
Yeah, I would have bought them anyways.
I would have wanted this, you would have. You could just bought
So
them.
what is this doing wrong then?
Because what's happened now is every toy line has become like this weird homogenized obsession with accuracy and things.
So
But
what
the people as well.
Which bit do you hate though? The chart itself, or the kind of online discourse around it?
Or is it the actual lines?
It's like a terrible math sport. But no, it is. I think it's the monster it's created. I think too many people now, every time I talk about this, straight away, because this is how people are like, testing against other toys. You have to go through this nonsense. Man, this is a car that's a little.
How else would you know if it was the right toy? If you were allowed to buy it?
I think that's a magnifying glass to look at what's going on here.
For me, it's the bit where people write off certain toys, particularly third-party stuff or whatever, because it's like half head height wrong versus what this tells them. And they're like, it could be the perfect toy, and I'm like, oh, it's such a shame because that toy looks amazing, but it's a half head height wrong versus what I can imagine it. And that's when you're a bit like, that may have gone too far.
I just think, man, so much of this is imagination, isn't it? You play with the toys, they're fun. When you start adding in this kind of accuracy.
Can you imagine if we'd had that as kids?
Yeah.
That would have been weird, right?
I mean, without this, people probably wouldn't write about MP8, Grimlock 8, Grimlock, as much as they do. That's an amazing
It's still
toy.
quite small, man.
Yeah, but it's an amazing toy, and it's one that would be a shame to discount completely because it doesn't fit with this.
What make it work for? Carry on.
Yeah, you're arguing these cases. You're supposed to be on the blind boxes. Right, well, I'm going to show you mine and we'll see where we get to. Press the button a few times.
Did you just pick up?
It's still two now,
Just
lovely.
one.
Oh, there we go.
No easy wins, we said. No easy
So look, I should clarify, this isn't just Bumblebee. Before anyone says, I've not got a vendetta against Bumblebee. It's not him specifically, it's 1,000 Bumblebees. That's the thing. It's not even just Bumblebee there. It's the kind of overuse of certain characters to the point where we get this many toys versus, like, I don't want to be all the good old days, but I love the fact that Transformers is a franchise of like 1,000 different characters and that they all get a toy, and your favourite is like some random, you know, guy whatever, like Decepticon, that is never in fiction or anything, and you know, you just kind of fall in love with them. So, you know, like, for me, things like Spinister or whatever else are characters that are never going to be represented in films or like in kind of the sort of biggest bits of popular media or whatever. And the fans
Was that Spinster not being represented in?
well, I'm talking about like big screen films and things like that. Maybe it will be, I will see in Rise of the Beast. But you know, I'm using him as one example of like a character that, yeah, has been picked up in comics and things like that, but because he was niche to start with, and it's kind of, I don't know, for me that's fun. Stuff like seeing Whirl in IDW is fantastic because that was never a big character back in G1 or anything like that, and I love all of that. Just these random kind of no-names and whatever else. Masterpiece Burnout, that's just been revealed this week, is a character that, by rights, is like, who? Do you know what I mean? But I think that's great. Versus, I don't know, Transformers for me is not the brand to just put the same 3 or 4 characters up top every single time. That's all. There are toy brands that do it very successfully, and that's great. But I don't personally feel like that's what Transformers is about. So Bumblebee movie, yes, I expect there to be a lot of Bumblebee toys, of course, but that's when you get shelves and shelves and shelves of this thing, I start to lose interest. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Optimus Primes do you have?
Alright.
How many movie Primes do you have?
A
How many
few.
movie Bumblebees do you have?
So Optimus Prime is kind of...
That's it.
What are you doing?
Sixer when the walls fell.
Which one is the red one? Is that cliff jumper, I presume?
Red Bobby.
Calcon.
Ah, right.
Stinger?
But still, I stand by this. I stand by this because at least with all my MP10s, and you were admiring some of them yesterday, they're all in different colours at least. You know?
I think it's great. I think that's wonderful. I did
There's
a letter
watermelon
interview
one.
with someone who's got thousands of Bumblebee toys.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to go and tell him your entire collection. Well, Sixer doesn't like it.
No.
So this doesn't like you.
That's not what I said. Dude, well, you're getting to the spirit of this now. You're doing very well. That's not what I'm saying. Look, I think it has its place, but it's just not for me personally, that's all. And yes, I do like a lot of Optimus Prime toys, but at least they're all different. That's the thing, all different colours.
They're different. One of them's a potato.
Yeah, I don't know. It's more the fact of the same characters being used time and time again. That's my thing.
Let's do the vote.
That's the thing. Okay, so blind boxes. That's a good crowd.
That's coverage.
Crowd.
That's coverage.
We'll take that. That looks good. Scale chart.
Yes.
Oh, a little bit behind. I think a little bit behind. Same characters being used time and again. I think that's blind boxes. Fair play, you know, well earned. Because, you know, when you suggested a second slide of cardboard, I was like, mate, half of it. What are you doing? Right, so we're going to move on to the current era. So this is toys now, basically, if you like. So, if I can get the clicker to work. There we go. Okay. Maz? Right. You don't work right. It doesn't work right.
I'm pitching the lack of pink hot rods. Pink hot rods. Look how good that looks. They originally made this toy in this colour. The prototypes of G1 Hot Rod, the screen version of G1 Hot Rod is pink. Magenta, fuchsia, it's pink. And that looks absolutely beautiful. You know, shout out to Chris for that image. And I've handled the prototype. It's absolutely gorgeous in those colours. And I absolutely am heartbroken at the fact that the Studio Series 86 Hot Rod was supposed to be that colour. Because that's the whole idea of the line. You're supposed to match the screen version of those characters. This was our opportunity to get screen movie characters, like Blur. So we've missed out on probably one of the very best opportunities we ever had to get a proper pink hot rod.
I would say that's probably the one thing you can do to Studio Series Hot Rod to make it better.
Because there's not much that could make it better. Right?
No, the opposite, man, honestly. Like,
How much do you want to lose today? No, you don't. It's not kitchen.
I'm not into that, sorry. I should put that up.
So, I mean, we do bring this up quite regularly, but I do absolutely think that that toy in those colours, and there are actually like near production versions of this toy, G1 Hot Rod, in those colours, and it's absolutely stunning. And I really do think we've moved well beyond the point of saying, oh, okay, Transformers, maybe they're not wanted in pink if they're not RC. Rubbish, look at Misfire. You know, this is a colour we should have had on this toy, and still deserve on this toy.
It's quite relevant today, isn't it, with the TF Nation t-shirt. I mean, it would look really good. I mean, I can't fault your argument, honestly, like I'm a big pink hot rod fan. It's when people pull out the old Pantones, isn't it? Like, it's not pink, it's this and that and whatever else.
In that world, there's another chart.
That's not to say that I don't like red hot rod toys. All the Rodimus versions we've got alternators and Biotech and that, beautiful toys. But for a G1 hot rod, something that's supposed to evoke the movie feel, I really do think it should be.
How was it not happening?
Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense.
and I did think that variant that was listed on the list, I thought this is what that was going to be.
And what is it going to be?
I think it's just
It was just a box, wasn't it?
yeah,
Just different boxes.
a different
Sorry,
box. I mean,
I'm a
new
hot seller.
packaging, same product.
I'm sure the plastic bubble was fine. It wasn't plastic bubble. See, even they figured out the plastic bubbles were rubbish.
So your bit you're putting forward then for the modern era is no pink hot rod.
No lack of pink hot rod.
No lack of pink hot rod.
More pink hot rod.
More
Do you
pink
not
hot
want
rod.
pink hot rod?
Do we even need to do the rest of this now?
I know, the man makes a compelling point, it's fair to say. Liam?
I think you can guess what this one is. It's this combinable silver engineering thing that people are obsessed with. But every time a new toy comes out, everyone has this descends on this thing that it must be designed from combinable silver ball. And he's had so many toys out of it, haven't they?
How many toys is it?
75? Isn't it? It's like Scatshot, Snaptrap,
Cyclone.
some other guy.
Quite
Too many.
character.
Yes. But it's popped up everywhere, but it's now reached the point where even in toys where it's not, people see it. I swear when the core class reading was showing the other day, someone's going to say it, and straight away you know, is it Cyclone? Silver ball? You know. I think more than anything actually, it's more people drawing lines on the internet. Maybe that's what I should have just put. Drawing lines, circles around everything.
You do seem to have a problem with the red lines.
Because I can see it, and the arrow is pointing at things.
No, but notice the drastically different shape of the box at the base of the crotch.
It's dramatic, you need to know that. But this whole thing, like, was it mainframe that came with the art?
Yeah.
It must have been like that 3 months ago when it's combinable silver. But it's a deluxe. It's similar. But it's
I still don't even know if it's true or not. Like every time it comes up, I'm still never even sure if it's actually, like people say, oh, that must be from combinable silver ball.
If they're joking.
I kind of go along with it, but I'm secretly in my head, I'm like, is it? I don't know.
I just got this idea that Hasbro, every time they come up with a new toy, it's like, what are we going to do? Let's go to Beast Wars, and someone just hit in the combinable silver ball bullshit. That's it. Just Z brush over the top. That's what happens.
So what's your thing that you actually want to submit? Is it combinable silver ball, or is it the kind of discourse around it?
It's the reuse of the engineering from it, and then the discourse with it.
Oh, the whole lot?
Yeah, let's just move like that.
Okay, all in the bin.
And people start drawing lines on the internet on pictures.
I'm sensing a theme here. Maz's is cardboard, yours is lines, generally. Straight lines.
I've been at school.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, well, I'll see if I can top that. Mine is, not this toy specifically, but look at the legs, man, honestly. Look at those legs.
It's like they photoshopped them out.
Yeah, it really does. It does look like a Photoshop fail. It's hollow parts, basically, in toys, is my thing. Just because, I don't know, I've recently got into a lot of Unicron trilogy stuff, and those were toys that, I'm not embarrassed to say, I skipped at the time because I was young and foolish, and now I'm kind of coming back to them. I'm like, these are great. Do you know what I mean? They're just full of plastic, chalk, paint off the charts. You know, they're absolutely stunning designs. And I see some of them now being recreated, and the toy designs themselves are fantastic. But it's just a bit of a shame sometimes when legs are hollow and arms are hollow and things like that. And we accept that, of course, there are going to be some budgetary constraints with these things, absolutely. But there are just some examples now, aren't there? Where
Name 7.
Name 7 toys specifically. Well, I can name you 5 Predacons to start with. Does that get me 5/7 of the way?
Sure.
And there's another on the screen, there you go. But yeah, it's just more the fact that some of them now, when you pick them up, it's just that kind of likeness to them. So yes, of course, there are budgetary constraints, I get that. But it's just this kind of prevalence now of hollow parts in a lot of these toys, which just makes them feel a little bit disappointing, even though the designs themselves are absolutely smashing, let's be honest. So, but you guys agree with me, don't you?
Nothing's so great.
Nothing's so great.
We bought modern toys. We're all on board.
You're all on board, are you?
I bought your son a modern toy.
I
bought your son a toy from the entertainer yesterday.
He was quite
He
tasty.
seemed very happy.
It was a good example.
Do you want to go and tell him that it
I should point out that you are the man that sent us both a picture of that Skywalk and you drew red lines all over it to point out where the hollow parts
You've
are.
become the villain.
That's my image.
So I'm just saying, that's Liam's pet peeve as well, isn't it there? So it's a double
Finish.
sin.
Triple takeover no more.
Yeah, double do over for no. So those are our arguments for the modern era. So let's have a little show of hands. Who thinks no pink or a lack of pink hot rod? That's a fairly good case here. You might have a good chance with that one. Who thinks Combiner Wars Silver Bolt and all of the crap that goes with it? A disappointing show for that one then. And who thinks hollow parts? Maz? What do you think?
Very
Close.
Okay, wait. Let's do pink hot rod again. That's a tie.
Sure.
I mean, I think pink hot rod won, but I'm just being... Unlike you to that guy.
Do you know what, I'll concede this one because I also agree that we should have a pink hot rod, but I would want it to be the G1 original personally. That would be, I can't believe that thing never got done in the e-hobby era. Honestly, it's just an absolute crime. So there we go. That is our Room 0101 presentation. Thank you very much. We do often get told that we're overly positive sometimes about toys, so it does feel good to get a few things off the chest occasionally, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's been very good.
Yeah, indeed. So we do just want to talk to you a little bit more about one other thing.
Right, so for those of you who have never listened to us, this is like a small taster of our content. It's pretty on brand, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, just make it up as we go along.
We didn't manage to find that tweet which said live podcasts are always SH1T. We didn't actually manage to find that tweet, but it was something we were tagged in. I was like, oh yeah, maybe we should put that up on the screen. But we are going to be introducing something much more exciting going forward. So we're going to carry on doing exactly what we're doing, which is fortnightly episodes which are available to everyone. We're also going to keep doing our fortnightly mini-sode exclusives. So this is content that we do a little bit extra, and it's on our Patreon for our Patreon subscribers at a specific tier. So this is kind of what we offer in a nutshell. The things that you can get are early access to episodes, and going forward, that's going to be a whole week earlier than we release them publicly. There's going to be the opportunity to vote on topics, that still remains. We're adding Discord servers, so the third tier is no longer Rats and Cats, it's going to be called Inner Beast, and that's going to include outtakes, everything that you get in the lower tiers. You can submit questions, we answer them on the pod, as regular listeners will know, and that will be access to the Discord server. Till now, our highest tier has been the 6O's Butlers. That's where people suggest topics and we do those topics for them, and they're exclusive to that tier. That tier is getting cheaper, so hopefully a bit more attractive. Also, they get the Discord server too. It's everything that's at a lower level. But possibly the most exciting thing of all is that we are introducing a brand new top tier.
The fifth tier, yes, indeed. Which is, I can click on, Gold Box Classics is what we're going to call it. Which is, an era that we all love anyway, so we really thought that this would be a nice name to kind of call it.
We did a suggestion as well.
It was a Patreon suggestion, absolutely. We had some ideas in mind for what we were going to call our fifth tier. We were kind of happy with them, and then one of our patrons suggested Gold Box Classics, and we were like, that's much better. So we'll use that. So the big thing here is that we're going to be doing a fortnightly, what we call mini-series. And the idea with this is that it's going to run on the opposite week that we already do our fortnightly mini-sodes. So that means for Goldbox Classics patrons, that will be weekly content that we deliver every Thursday. And that, obviously, you'll still get your live episodes every other Tuesday, if you like, and then patrons will get them a Tuesday early as well. So it actually means that there's content going out in one way or another every Tuesday and every Thursday, which... So we're still wrapping up.
We're not really going to miss our day jobs and families.
Yeah, no, not at all, not at all. So yeah, the mini-series is going to be a brand new thing that we do, and it's basically a bit like mini-sodes, but episodic, if you like, so with a kind of overarching theme. So we'll show you some ideas for what we've got coming up at the moment. The first one goes live next Thursday, as in a week yesterday, which is quite exciting. We've already recorded it. And basically, these are going to be topics that we want to keep revisiting on a sort of regular basis. So, well, we'll show you the ideas that we've got, but things that we're going to talk about kind of ongoing. So not just as like one-off mini-sodes or whatever else it may be. We're also going to do a bit of a social shout-out for our new Goldbox Classics patrons. So when you sign up, if anybody does, then we'll shout about you on social media. We're going to do a regular Q&A session. You get a free gift as well. So like a Goldbox Classics mug or like whatever it might be. And we're going to do some special gold edition Autobot artwork as well. So one of the patron things at the moment is that if you are a patron, you get Autobot themed artwork for your podcast feed. But if you're going to be a Goldbox Classics,
how much time we spend.
What goes on? There was a lot of debate about what this should look like, but these are our new mini-series. There we go.
This is it. So some cool new stuff. As you can see, these will come out every other week, won't they?
Yeah, every fortnight.
From each of us. My one is still to be confirmed, but 6 hours.
That's on, mate. That's what we're doing.
Any Boblins fans?
That's it now. The slides
Year
are
of that.
there.
As you can see, 6.0 discovers modern fiction. Is going to be a new one. And Mass discovers toys that aren't technically classed as antiques. So,
Kind of. They're becoming good games now.
that's like 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I finally get to talk about more toy lines other than Transformers. Because I joke about it, don't I, sometimes in the intro. It was always about doing other toy lines. They let me do Mascots, and that was one of them. That's my favourite.
We let you.
Yeah, finally acquiesced. But so...
The very same day we did the Mask episode, while we were doing the Mask episode, what did you do? You just went and bought a Mask toy.
I bought one Mask toy, yes.
You say this, but remember you kept saying, oh, I didn't have any Mask toys. Then we went through it. You had them all. So I think you had this one.
I now own one Mask toy. That's
Which
my
one?
concession to it. Buzzard.
Good choice.
Quality choice, thanks.
Yeah, so hopefully we can do follow-ups and stuff like that. Starcon,
Yeah.
Brave Star,
So I've recently just started reading More Than Meets the Eye, which is fantastic, by the way. I absolutely love it. And I've always felt like a little bit embarrassed that I've not read it previously, just because I think at the time when it first came out, I was just in a different sphere. Sometimes things are not on your radar as they're happening, and then it obviously became such a whirlwind that it was like, oh man, how am I going to catch up with that? Do you know what I mean? And then it kind of almost became a bit embarrassing that I hadn't read it. So I'm, quite a few issues in already, and absolutely loving it. I mean, I think I was won over by the second page. It was like, this is just awesome. You know what I mean? So we are doing
first page.
Yeah, all right. First page, not too right. Yeah. But yes, we are doing a regular mini-series on this, and it basically will be kind of regular catch-ups on where I'm at on the series, and obviously kind of discussing our thoughts. Well, we recorded this one already, and we had an absolute brilliant blast with it, didn't we? Of just going through that series, kind of, episodically.
So about 4 hours putting it in the end.
Yeah.
We're going to alternate on, so it's not going to be multiple episodes of that same mini-series in a row every 2 weeks. So we've done that one, so the 2 weeks after that is going to be, me and Lan.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about that.
There was also an amazing moment when we were doing this, when Maz kept making me and 608 every time he goes, I'm just changing my microphone. Just take half an hour to read an issue, wouldn't it?
I know.
It's like what I'm doing.
Like 9 o'clock, where are you? You're supposed to be recording, and it turns out he's bloody rereading issue 3. Never mind. But yeah, you also need to buy some more Unicron Trilogy toys this weekend, so I'm going to follow you around and see what it's...
Since I've seen all of them at your... You know what? He picked me up from the station, and then he picked Liam up from the station later. Both of us got the same spiel. And I've got shit. It's like, please don't tell my wife how many toys I have. Don't act surprised.
I didn't say that. I said, don't lose this whole Transformers thing.
You do
But
have
he has.
You do have all the Transformers.
I said not all of Transformers.
There are so many, I thought there was going to be a gift shop at the end.
I got an MV skin.
But you do need to get some more unicorn
I'm doing it,
this weekend. And then Liam, not going to just be talking about boglins. What other toy lines are you thinking of?
Mini boglins.
It's not just mini boglins.
Yeah.
Fiendish feet.
Starcom, Wing Raiders.
Oh yeah, Wing Raiders.
There we go.
Brainstorm. Visionaries, definitely visionaries.
Cowboys of Will Mason.
I don't know what it is, but in about an hour, I'll be an expert.
So this is just our way of basically every episode that we suggest doing. Liam is like, when are we going to do the Starcom episode or whatever? So we finally got a little series.
One episode? One direct line? There will be more.
Yeah, but we talk about it all the time. We just don't record.
There'll be more. So yes, and this is our new Goldbox Classics mini-series. This is what we're going to be doing with our time. So as we say, fortnightly content, but also fortnightly mini-sodes, so new content every week on Patreon.
Speaking of patrons.
Oh, speaking of patrons.
Right, so apparently our patrons would like, they think, to have their names read out as fast as possible, like that.
It's just a challenge, that's all.
Yeah.
People will laugh at you.
We don't have music, so some of you have already supported us very generously, and we would just like to thank you, because also this is going to be made available, we hope, maybe, to our patrons. So, for those who can't be here, so big thank you to, okay, this is Old Man with Tech and Content Editors, Nick, Danny Robertson, Andy Preston, Chris, Spiderfile, Alan Schumacher, Matt, Stephen Burgess, Matt Sadie, Justin Massari, Dave Allen, Gio Kaiser, Yusuf, John Paul, Choice, Anthony Cars, Alec Meir, Captain R.A., Phil G, Jasper Letty, Roadstorm, Stuart Webb, Marl, Lazenby, Cuba Hunter, Vegemite, Mike Peter Hampson, Sherry, Chris Norris, Jesse Moreno, Jackson Harwood, Yip, MK Tronic, Nexus, Jim Owen, Aaron Swoboda, Tia Starfire, Billy Gator, Andy Gold, Jack Hoberg, Simon Elvin, Josh Shawls, David Nabby, Misha Kidd, Michael Cable, Fantastic Plastic, sorry. Dan Stater, Jeffrey Frigg, Nice Sideburns, Andy, Chuck Pierce, Inbound Lee, John Wood, Carl Wilson, Tim Banerjee, Campbell, Hal the Barrel, Ben Lewis, Shinsei, Lucas Henkel, Wallace Cody, Mark Hobbs, CNC Rick, 56, David Shepherd, who signed up at the show. I know he's around here somewhere. And the Mapes Brothers, who you might recognise.
So I think the last message from me, or from us, I guess, is to just say a big thank you, because honestly, we've had a real fun time recording this podcast. It's been great fun. Some of the stuff that we just talk about, you know, in our sort of spare evenings or whatever, it kind of resonates with people, and it's, I think, yeah, occasionally. But I think it was the fact that we turned up today and we'd been to the supermarket on the way here in the car, and Liam had bought a couple of pot noodles and bags of crisps and things for the weekend. And he ran out of carry bags, so the lady in the supermarket very kindly said, "Would you like a box?" It's like a crate thing. So when he walks into the foyer area with this crate full of pot noodles, and without no word of a lie, the first interaction we had was someone going, "Is that your breakfast?"
It was Gavin Spencer's.
As I got out of the car, I didn't even close the door. I was just getting out of the car in the car park.
Well, I had to let you out because I had a child.
I had a child. None of this is my fault. It's just unfair.
So I think we're still in a little bit of awe that some of the stuff that we just randomly come out with on an evening kind of, you know, resonates with people. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And enjoy your croissants. I think we're out of time, mate.
The new setup looks really good for the new gold box. I just wanted to say I was a little bit disappointed because I thought you were going to do bedtime readings of the comics to me.
Well, as in I actually read the comics.
Actually read them.
That's another tier on top of it. So that's a really exclusive tier.
And wearing the leggings, I'm sure you'll be right.
That was on you to buy the merch.
Yeah.
Where's Andy Hudson with his apron?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we did have a promise of an apron.
Hello guys.
This is Fancy Dan, by the way. You might have heard of Fancy Dan on the podcast.
I love to grill.
Blameless.
I'm not going to ask about why Jimmy Quizquich is so poor, but instead, regarding the pink hot rod, would you cash in the pink hot rod against the clear and black hot rods that we got?
what, as in give up clear hot rod, crystal hot rod, and black hot rod?
Exactly.
No, I wouldn't, because I think Crystal Hot Rod is my favourite reissue exclusive of the whole lot. But I would also like a pink hot rod. Maybe it's because I know the pink hot rod exists. You know, there are 2 or 3 test shots, there is a prototype, probably more than that. There's obviously the one that was in Toy Fair, but no Crystal Hot Rod would be a damn shame. So I wouldn't cash in against that.
Liam, what do you think? You saw Crystal Hot Rod for the first time this morning, I think?
Yeah, that's cool. It's not pink. I'm going with the pink one. I don't care about the white. Crystal one's lovely. But yeah, pink. Ooh.
I'd have a tough time giving up the crystal one, I've got to tell you. I think it's really, really lovely. The black one is so nice as well, so that's 2 for the price of 1. I don't know.
All I'll say is, give up those and you lose the anime cards.
That's true.
Well, there's another one that's like sweets. So.
Yeah. I would keep the crystal black ones, I think. As much as I do want a pink hot rod, I would keep it. Oh, man, that's good. Why would I mention Binaltech?
Well, why would Binaltech end up in room 0101?
Yeah, it's the furthest thing away from it.
It's on everything. It should be mentioned somewhere.
That's true, yes, absolutely. We are big Binaltech fans, it's fair to say. We've got any Binaltech now?
Oh, one. Space one. But I had that anyway.
And the Hound.
The Jurassic Park. Oh, the Jurassic Park one, yeah. I've got one painted like the Jurassic Park Jeep.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's pretty cool. No, I'm a massive Binaltech fan, unashamedly.
It's because you've got all of Transformers.
Hello, gents. It's me. I'm going to ask one question. I've been asking 2 questions there, Williams, but I'll just give you guys one. Unicron's attacking Earth. You're about to jump on the Ark. You can take 1 Transformer from your collection, grab it, get your family, sit with them, and you go. Which Transformer are you grabbing?
Why, you're over there.
It wasn't just me. I don't know, I always find this question really tough because it's like, you know, when people say, who's your favourite Transformers character and things as well, I'm always like, I don't know, do you know, there's like a billion of them. I don't know, G1 Hot Rod for me would actually be a really hard one to not kind of immediately think of. That or Black Power Master Optimus Prime as well. It's just, I don't know, there's something about those 2 toys that are just, I know they're not the most articulated, but they're just, for me as a kid, I was just so in love with those toys that it's kind of, there's something about the experience of them even now. But I think also seeing my son and how much he loves G1 Hot Rod, he's got one as well, and yeah, it's a really kind of special thing. It's just something about that toy that I think is pretty cool.
This is Liam. Stop asking for your Henke convoy back. You sold it to me, man. Get over it.
Give me back!
It's mine now.
I was in the right action of wine.
Not really a question, just a polite request.
It's a statement.
You mentioned Unicron Trilogy toys a lot, and those are the toys that I grew up with, and that's what I've come back to collect now. I also never owned a G1 toy. How would you feel about collectors going forward, never sort of the Unicron Trilogy or later toy lines of what they go back and collect, and G1 isn't as sought after as maybe it is now?
So, the question being, how would I feel if G1 wasn't as sought after?
Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. I can't imagine anything I'd want more.
Trying to get that 4 lines.
Also, thanks for aging me so much. I saw the picture at the start, that's what I meant.
If you can choose a film director to either direct a live action or an animated film,
Oh man.
who would you choose to produce that film?
Michael Bay.
I'll go Michael Mann. It's not done enough. Dennis Villeneuve, I think.
Oh, he's straight in.
That's a good
I'll watch
shout.
Dune on the plane home. Again.
I think Spielberg's a really interesting shout, because of course he was the producer of the original films, and obviously I'm sure we've all seen the thing about Michael Bay saying that he had a different vision in mind, but it was Spielberg that said keep it about the boy in his car and all that. And actually you can kind of see some of those Spielbergian touches, I think, in that first film. I think it's there, but with all the mayhem and everything as well. What's that?
Also in Bumblebee.
Yeah.
It's coming of age.
Yeah, exactly. It's there in Bumblebee as well. I really love Bumblebee, honestly. I think it's a beautiful film. I know it doesn't, has its detractors and things as well, but I just think the smaller scale, I think, works really well. I think it's, just really nice.
Would you have it starting on Earth, or would you have it starting?
I think for live action, I think you've got to have Earth. It's always going to be, maybe for an animated thing on Cybertron, I don't know, but live action is always going to have an element of Earth to it, just because otherwise it's like a CGI film anyway, really, isn't it? So, in a funny way. But I think as well, I don't know if general audiences are necessarily ready for a full film set on Cybertron, maybe. It's like a bit too much to ask, I would have thought. Whereas like Bumblebee found, I thought, a really nice kind of niche with it, of really cool scenes on Cybertron, but then setting a lot of it in kind of more of a familiar setting. And Transformers, I don't know, it works well as a kind of fish out of water, robots in disguise thing anyway. That's kind of the core of a lot of what those great stories are about. So, as for directors, I don't know. Got anyone in mind?
Well, I said Dennis Villeneuve because I love the scale and aesthetic and feel of Blade Runner, the most recent one, and also Dune. I'd love to see Transformers like that, to be honest. Just because that's not what we've had at all.
Yeah, something different would be good. So, but to be honest, I'm really excited about Rise of the Beast as well. I know there's some random stuff in there, and like it's you know, the car is the wrong name and all that kind of stuff, but supposedly. But just I don't know, see what happens. I guess. Do you know what I mean? It'd be fun to see something new.
I go to Berlin because just imagine how weird and wild it would be. Optimus Prime running around with Oompa Loompas and all that.
Yeah.
Crazy all this.
I mean, what answer did you expect?
Weird, man.
Another question?
Hello. I have a quick question for you. You've recently done an episode on Masterpiece Transformers, which are the update of the classic G-Online, and it's gone into other series. And you've also talked about Diaclone Reboot, which you mentioned in one of your more popular episodes. So, taking that kind of reimagining or updating of a toy line, if you had to pick another toy line apart from Transformers, what would you pick to give? What toy line?
Ask.
Okay. What would you pick to give that Masterpiece reboot treatment?
Liam, I feel like this is your territory, mate.
Finish fit.
Bobbins.
Straight in. Dark Army did that. Every toy.
Would it be Starcom?
Probably be massive, wouldn't it?
Probably would be Mass.
Well, the mass toys are pretty much perfect as they are. The scale because they do stuff like that. What do you
Mass would certainly be the one that I would sort of most think of, if only because it's so rooted in the 80s, but hasn't really had an update, has it, at all? There's some third-party stuff, I think, that's coming out.
Ramen toy, isn't it? Ramen toy.
There's a what toy?
Ramen toy. I think
Ramen and toy.
Ramen, that was it.
It's not other username.
Ramen and toy.
You do have all the resources in the world, time, money, everything. You have to pick one story from Transformers history to adapt into a movie. What do you pick and why?
One story.
One story.
Sets your fear.
In one story for one movie.
Dark Phoenix.
That's a tough one. Now what should we do?
I can't remember the name of the three-parter, but it was really early in More Than Meets the Eye. And I don't want to say too much because it'll spoil it for you.
Spoilers.
But it was issues 9, 10, and 11, which was the first flashback to early Cybertron. I would have loved to see that.
I think it just worse as a film, as a story.
Very good.
Very self-contained.
Very good show.
Give that Christmas one with Jetfire and do it in style of a snowman.
Oh, the memory of bricks.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much. Can we have another round of applause?